Hi, I'm Terry Murphy, Senior Editor for Realty Times Women in Business, Women in Real Estate, and In the Men's Room with Murph. But today we have a superpower woman in Women in Business, and her name is Ghalia Boustani. She is a retail consultant. She is the diva of all things for her expertise in retail transformation. She has formats and consumer experience, and you have worked at the intersection of fashion, retail, and management, both in the field and behind the field, advertising brands through transitional phases and developing impactful operational tools. So let me just share with you kids, she's smart, she's written books, she has a television series, she has a learning series, and most importantly, she has a munchkin, which I'm sure she doesn't want to share with any of us. Published author of how many books, Miss Ghalia?
So 4, and a book chapter, and a few coming down the road.
So I would just say, yeah, the rest of us are just trying to keep up with all that. And what we love to do here at Realty Times is to showcase women who get it done, women that make a contribution, women who actually change our lives in a quiet but very powerful way. You were taught in Beirut. Yeah, the rest of us just like go to, the grocery store. But Beirut, Istanbul, London, Paris, speaking at international forums. She says retail is about perception, being able to see what others overlook. Tell us how you got started.
Oh my God, thank you so much for this intro, Terry. I'm humbled also to be with you today and to be sharing some traits of the story I've been living, and hopefully it will inspire and benefit other women like us. So yeah, it all started in Beirut, back home, in a place where one could live a lot of discrepancies between the dreamed state and the real lived moments. But again, I think that this gives any person a lot of perspective. From one hand, understanding what we're living in the moment, and the other hand, how we can make this reality a better one. And I think this is a trait that builds a lot of Lebanese people. And
well, I just want to tell everybody that because of this vast international, basically brand power network, speaks 3 languages, and has written so much about the industry. And again, your work spans consulting, speaking, content curation, insight development, which means she probably can do fractions pretty well, and immersive team training. So as you do this globally, what are you seeing?
In the industry, in retail, of course, we can always see things in a holistic way, or we can see fractions of things. As much as we grow into being more specialized, I'm keen on seeing the things that best fit my areas of interest and not cross over things that I do not master. So today I'm seeing things that are interesting, as much as AI is taking over a lot of talk on experiences, on experiential retail, and I've been evangelizing this a lot lately. I'd always come back and say, like, okay, this is a reality that retailers want to develop and hopefully achieve. But retail is also trying to go back to basics. I think we have been lost with everything happening, technology, all the advancements related to retail, and the integrations of digitalization in the retail scene, which deviated from what retail is and should be. Retail is here to serve people at its best, and we can serve people in a very simple way. We don't have to overcomplicate things. So I believe today that there are 2 types of beautiful experiences: those that are going back to basics and that are true to themselves, that are not overly complicated, that have understood what works for the brand and for their customers, and others that have become more experiential in a collaborative and social type of way, in the sense that they're saying if customers have the opportunity to go out and do not only want to purchase a product for its mere utility, and they could do that online, we need to give them a reason to come to that store, to live something different, and to gain value, whether social, whether communications, whether meeting people, whether just discovering something. And this is an area that is being also much developed in retail.
So, you like you said, retail fascinated you as a younger person, and the fashion, that all fits, right? But at the end of the day, the shopping, working with Anthony Esper from Occupy, and understanding that our shopping malls in the United States are not the same experience as in like Dubai and places like that, Singapore. They're, it's as if they've gone back to being more of a destination experiential thing as opposed to just, finding a new pair of shoes. What are you seeing internationally as that develops? Because they kind of went away here and now they're coming back.
Exactly. I think maybe our generation has these memories of let's go to the mall on the weekend, let's meet together. So it was a safe place. It was a good alternative for going out. There was the restaurant, going to the movies, sitting just there with friends or just doing window shopping. So I have memories going to the mall, right? And then it turned a little bit darker in the sense that we just wanted to fill in spaces rather than creating any type of experience there. This is the little munchkin.
Beautiful. Wait, repeat that. That's beautiful. We wanted to create experiences. Go ahead.
Exactly. I think that at some point, shopping malls and centers.
We look for real people, and the fact that you're a mom as well as being this incredible superstar internationally makes this so much more relatable. Because very often we go into the business part of it, and these are people. At the end of the day, we are communicating energies, and so I was not born in Lebanon. I can't speak Arabic. I can hardly tell if it is. So you bring this beautiful piece of the puzzle, including that gorgeous little person who's very, very, very lucky to have you. But you talked about the experience and how, yes, years ago, hate to sound like an old person, we went to the mall as a social thing.
Exactly, a social thing and like a one-place destination where we spent a lot of time, not only shopping but interacting and having fun. And I think we could go through scenario where we spent a full day at the mall, right? And the time just went by. And then all of this turned into hostility. At a certain point, going to the mall wasn't as pleasant as it used to be because we turned all of these food courts into formatted courts. It wasn't clean as it used to be. The stores were not taking care of their storefronts. Everything became just like come in, pay rent, and go. It takes two to tango. We need people to come in, sure, but we also need to give every brand the opportunity to come and to thrive, and us as a mall owner to give them the opportunity to live it at its best. So the important thing here to say, like after this dark moment that most of the shopping malls have lived, it's important to see that it's coming back. It's coming back because everyone said like Gen Zers are more prone to doing online shopping, whereas today studies are seeing that they are more ready to go back to the physical retail space because there is an opportunity of having more of this human interaction.
And that you make a really good point. I just want to make sure that the U.S. hears this. they just became, like you said, rent a space. And one of the things that Occupy does is it looks to help not the super brands, not the Pradas and the Busti, all what am I trying to say?
Luxury, let's say.
Thank you. Yeah, and letting and giving a space and exposure to the smaller purveyors. And I think that, and I'm not going to go into their website but I know because when you're a big company, you have your own marketing team and research and whatever. When you're a smaller group, you don't have all that access. And yet that's where you find the jewels. Anybody, you can buy Prada in Paris, you can buy Prada in Chicago, you can buy Prada in, Abu Dhabi, but you can't get, John's Honey, Honey and Soap Company, because it doesn't have that footprint. And so it makes it more interesting.
Of course, because there is this local relevancy, right? At a certain point, we were more keen to getting those bigger brands, bigger names, because it was sexier. And the customer was also trained and accustomed to that. Like, if I'm bigger, I have better standards. If I'm smaller, I have lesser standards. Well, yeah, let me tell you, of course, when I'm smaller, I don't have the same means, but it doesn't mean that I don't have the service and the quality. And another thing that also makes sense is us looking at the other side of the coin. If 10 or 20 years ago, we used to visit without name shaming, a McDonald's in New York or in Paris, we were going absolutely into the same thing, right? The location changes, but we're going to the same copy-pasted format. Now, if we look at how Starbucks, McDonald's, or other luxury brands, without naming them, we would understand that there is the global act, but the global strategy, but the local act. This means that every luxury brand has to speak the local language, whether it was into different countries, or one country and two different quarters or boroughs or departments, call them as much as you want. We need to have this local feel, because this is what makes an interesting area to visit. So I think retailers are coming across a new calculation, like, how can I take advantage from a location and see a perfect fit between that location, the brand that's going to be integrated into that location, and how customers are going to see the pure relevancy between both. I think
that's a great point. I mean, I didn't even think about that. And yet you, of course, pinpointed that. And that, I think, is what is unique about what Occupy is trying to do on a global level. And that is give them the data and all the nuances of a local market so that they can make an informed decision. One of the things that I learned from working with the group is seeing, I mean, literally, I don't search for what does the shopping center look like in Dubai or, Singapore. And yet tell me one differentiation, because you've been to the States, we have food courts and we have, that kind of thing. But they have, can I say the word more entertainment or more spectacle in some of those? Can you share a little bit about how that works to make it so attractive to people to go?
So for the anecdote, a couple of years ago, I was back in the US, and I just was strolling with a dear friend who also moved across, and she's a childhood friend. So she took me to different malls and to different outlets. So she saw that I was pinpoint in front of that window of that department store, and she saw me like, Ghalia, why are you shook? I told her I cannot understand how that department store has that prime location and that big of a window, and no one paid attention that the window has a forgotten table and full of dust and a lot of insects, and no one passed by in the morning and saw that. I mean, she told me, don't get angry, Like, this is the end of the conversation. She told me, in the US, you just go in, you put things on a table, they will sell. It's not like over in France, Ghalia, okay? I told her, yeah, it's true. I mean, I think the US have taught us a lot on how we should do marketing and business, but forgot to do it. If I learned anything about marketing, it was that Philip Kotler book, with respect to all other authors, that I used to have like that when I was doing my BA. And this is how I learned about marketing, right? And so I was heartbroken. I cannot go and learn or discover things that are contradictory, and it cannot happen. So yeah, going back and forth and crossing over to Europe and then crossing over the Middle East. Europe has also some standards. Okay, we like window shopping. We take advantage of the seasons where we have dressed our windows. People could come from all over the world to Paris to discover what Galerie Lafayette or Printemps or Le Bon Marché or La Samaritaine has done. We would just like walk around and discover new stuff without even going into the department store. And once in the store, we also discover the new collections, the team that takes more attention on like serving the customer, so on and so forth. But then going to the Middle East, there's an extra layer of expectations. We don't just want to be served, we want to be having a personal service, right? So if I have money to spend, I don't want to spend it here if the other neighbor would give me a little bit of extra. And they're right. Money is king at
How fun.
the date. So I think the Middle East also has adopted all the good things from Europe and the US, the commercial American, North American, let's say, ways of doing business. The European way of beautifying space and attention to detail, whether it was French, Italian, or Spanish, we really thrive on beauty and attention to detail, and that extra layer, which is cultural. And this is very much, I think, within the Middle East. We are human beings. We like to chit-chat when we're doing. It's not only a transactional moment. I mean, okay, I'm here to buy, but it's okay if you take a little bit extra time and tell me that I look beautiful, or maybe tell me that you will offer me the alteration for free, or if I ask for a product, I will see you, like, take a moment and go call the other floor or God knows what boutique and make sure you get me that item. I mean, it doesn't cost much, but the attention adds value. So
God,
I think
you just nailed it. Exactly.
Does it make sense? I mean, if you just like drop it down from across the pond and flying into the Middle East, and I think Asia is also another dimension, like putting all of the grandiose aspects of retail because the space allows it also. And then the opportunities of spending because people have the ability to spend, and this changes the entire perspective. There is no concession on what can I do. I just do, and I do it well, and I impress my people. And voila, here we have all of these different transitions of retail and how they are lived across time and space.
Wow. So you just said a word, and as we wrap this up, you said the word culture. And I remember my first time in France, and I stayed at a beautiful place, but it was, and it was the culture came through. So underneath the staircase, there was a staircase. Underneath the staircase was a little desk, and it had a little silver tea set. And with the tea set, it had flowers. And I thought, we don't do that here, But it was that moment of, I'll call it kind of eye candy. It was sort of like, how lovely. And you said something, and again, not to disparage the big names, because bless their hearts, they made a global footprint. But, the Gucci's and whatever, they have to be standardized across the country, across the globe, across the oceans. The smaller ones have the flavor that you just said was so pertinent to having an experience that's different from and rather unique. And I know that Occupy looks for that level as well, because those they don't even call them shopping centers. What do they call them? They call them we call them malls, and they have different names in different places. But your work is so fascinating, and how brilliant that besides all of the masters that you have, that you were able to take the fashion part with the artistic part, with the relationship part, and put it together in such a unique service level that it makes you in high demand. So I would say, Ghalia, if someone wanted to hire you to speak or consult or buy your books, where would they go?
They could, I think the best place to go to is the website, GhaliaBoustani.com, GhaliaBoustani.com.
Yeah, I'm going to just say there's so much there, and you also have some learning platforms, correct?
So the learning platforms are there. We are just working on putting them in a consolidated way so that visitors could easily find them. So this will be up very soon. And for the moment, we hope that through this website, the visitors would see like all of these consolidated works from either the books that I've done or the maybe speaking sessions that I had the opportunity to attend to, or the contributions that I generally write to different retail magazines would be in one place. And hopefully take the conversation from there with people who are interested in retail in general.
Yeah, well, just to let you know as we close, the overachiever here, she has her own YouTube channel. There's over 130 different, there's 200 videos, give or take. There's in 2017 a national TV show. She wasn't doing enough, by the way, with 24 episodes on business and fashion. There's a lot going on here, Ghalia, and I just want other women and other people to know that there's a power in the global connection, regardless of whatever issues are happening in the country. People still want to be seen, valued, and heard, which is what happens when you have, you said, relevant culture connections in these places where we go to buy our goods. And it is fun. I think COVID had a lot to do with things not working out, and now it's time for the resurgence. People are hungry for connection, and you, my friend, my new friend, are in the middle of that. You are the master there. And so I know that any collaboration with Occupy is going to be valuable to you, and I want people to reach out to you, both as a speaker, as a presenter, as an expert, as a specialist. And even though I almost made her Italian kids, I wanted to call her Boustani, and she's not, but we're kin anyway. So thank you so much for joining us, and especially for letting us see the newest addition to your family. And we will have to visit again if you will be gracious enough to share your time and expertise. I'm Terry Murphy, the senior editor for Realty Times, Women in Business. We have a powerhouse here. Join us and be sure you check out her videos and go to her YouTube channel as well. Thanks for joining us.